All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle something that's, well, a giant, fascinating puzzle. India. You've got this country with an almost unbelievable amount of diversity. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. But somehow, underneath it all, there's this really strong thread of unity. So today, we're going to unpack that beautiful idea, that paradox, the many in the one.
And, to really get us in the right frame of mind, let's start with this incredible quote from the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. What he's really getting at here is this deep desire to feel that single, unifying connection, the one, even when you're surrounded by the beautiful, kind of chaotic play of the many. It just perfectly captures what we're about to dive into.
So that really brings us to the big question, right? How on earth does a country with so much diversity actually find unity? I mean, we're talking about a place with over 1 billion people, hundreds of languages, countless traditions. How does it all hold together? What's the secret sauce? Well, let's figure it out.
Okay, so first things first, before we can even talk about unity, we have to get our heads around just how massive the diversity really is. Seriously, it's the first thing you notice, and it's huge.
And you know what's interesting? People have been asking this question for a long time. We're not the first ones to be amazed by this. Way back, over 100 years ago, a historian named Vincent Smith was thinking about the exact same thing. He actually called the diversity bewildering, which is a great word for it, but he also kind of saw the answer right there. He said it's all about India's special talent for finding unity in its diversity.
Okay, so let's throw some numbers at this to really see what we're dealing with. There was this huge study, right, that People of India project, and they tried to actually count all the different communities. The number they came up with? 4,635. That is just staggering. We're talking about thousands of totally unique ways of life, with their own traditions, all living side by side.
And then there's language. Get this. The same project found 325 different languages. Not dialects, but distinct languages. And they're written in 25 different alphabets or scripts. So yeah, we're not talking about small differences here. This is diversity on an absolutely epic level.
Okay, so with all of that difference, where do you even start to look for the things that bring people together? Well, the answer is kind of surprising. It's in the simple, everyday stuff. And a great place to start is with something everyone loves: food.
Think about it. India has, probably thousands of different dishes. But if you look closer, like on this map, you'll see that the basics, the foundation of most meals, are actually pretty similar all over the country. Things like rice, wheat, and dal, they're everywhere. And then you have common spices like turmeric. It's like a shared kitchen that lets everyone create their own amazing diverse recipes. It's unity in ingredients.
All right, let's try another example. Clothing. And really, there's no better example than the sari. It's the perfect symbol for this whole idea. Why? Because at its heart, it's just one single unstitched piece of fabric.
And check this out. This is so cool. On one side, you've got this ancient stone carving. That's a woman wearing a sari centuries and centuries ago. And on the other, you see the brilliant colors of a modern one. It's the same idea. This one simple garment can be made from cotton, silk, you name it, and it's worn in hundreds of different styles depending on where you are. It's literally the perfect metaphor. One garment, but endless ways to express it. And let's just talk about the silks for a second. I mean, look at these names: Banarasi, Kanjivaram, Paithani. Each one of those isn't just a name, it's a whole history. A centuries-old tradition of weaving, a totally unique style. It's a great example of how all that local diversity doesn't fight against the main idea. It makes it richer. It adds to the whole beautiful tapestry.
Okay, so we've got food, we've got clothing. But this idea of unity is also woven right into the calendar. The way festivals are celebrated in India, it's another amazing example of this whole thing in action.
Let's just zoom in on one example: the harvest. All across the country, people celebrate the harvest season right around the same time of year. But here's the cool part. They all do it with their own special names and their own unique traditions.
This map shows it perfectly. So around the middle of January, you've got Lori up in the north, then Makar Sankranti in the west and central parts, Pongal down south, and Mag Bihu way out in the east. See what's happening? It's all the same idea, celebrating the harvest, but it's expressed in all these different, beautiful local ways. One big theme, lots of different parties. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What about your favorite festival? Have you ever thought about whether people in a different part of India celebrate something similar, just with a different name? It's worth looking into. You might be surprised at what you find.
All right, finally, let's get to what might be the deepest layer of unity. the one that really connects everything else. And that's the shared cultural heritage, all built on ancient stories.
And you really can't talk about this without mentioning the two great epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. These are just huge, ancient stories. They're full of heroes, gods, and big questions about right and wrong, and they've been a part of the culture here for literally thousands of years.
But here's the thing. These aren't just old, dusty books sitting on a shelf somewhere. For thousands of years, these stories have been alive. They've been translated, changed up, and retold in so many different languages. They've inspired music, dance, plays, and incredible art, like this beautiful painting we're looking at. They really are stories that belong to everyone.
And this quote just nails it. An anthropologist, K.S. Singh, pointed out that if you listen to local stories all over India, you'll hear that the heroes from these epics visited, well, pretty much everywhere. What does that do? It creates this kind of shared cultural map, an imaginary world that connects every single part of the country.
So, let's pull all these threads together. We've looked at food, clothes, festivals, stories, and what have we seen? We've seen that unity doesn't mean getting rid of diversity. In fact, it seems like it actually thrives on it.
You know, India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, he put it really well. He traveled all over the country, and he said that no matter where he went, underneath all the obvious differences, he found this powerful shared culture. He saw that everybody knew the stories from the old epics, and that the lessons from those stories were, as he said, engraved on the popular mind.
And really, that's the main idea here. The unity in India isn't like a solid block of concrete, rigid and easy to break. It's much more like a giant ancient tree. It's strong because it has thousands of different roots, all the diversity, and all of them are pulling from the same deep shared culture. So the diversity isn't a weakness at all. It's actually the source of all the richness and strength.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. This whole idea of many in the one, it's not just some theory in a book, it's real and it's happening all around you. So the next time you're sharing food with family, or celebrating a festival, or even just hearing an old story, take a second, look a little closer. Where do you see the many in the one in your own life? Thanks so much for joining me.